Hey everyone, it's Ricky Rogue here, and I wanted to open this podcast a little different. We kind of got into some controversial topics in this one, and normally I try to avoid that, as this is more of a just kind of casual shits and giggles kind of deal. And this is one of those ones where we got a little deep into the conversation, and I just wanted to say, like, I think we explained ourselves decently, but I wanted to be clear up front that this is not a jab at people. Me and Chris both respect people's way of lives and everything, and we have nothing against anyone. But I know it's the internet and everyone takes things a little too far. I've done it, everyone's done it. It's just how humans work. And I wanted to just be clear up front that this is nothing, no hate towards people, only love, but this is just from our lens and our perspective, and I think we make that very clear in the thing that this is just how we view certain topics. And I hope you enjoy. There's some funny moments still. It's not all super deep and, controversial, but we do get there. So I wanted to be very clear up front about it. I really hope you enjoy this. Please don't make this be the one that everyone watches and then has a war zone in the comments about it. We just want to have fun. Alright, enjoy the rest of the video. Pre-recorded in one of the 3 starter Pokemon balls. Which one is it? This is Running Rogue with Ricky Rogue.
And me, Chris. When are you going to put this sound deadening board up, man? I've been staring at this stuff for, it's got to be at least 3 or 4 months now.
Oh god, it's been a year. It's been since before COVID.
You're not wrong on that. We've got to get on that.
Actually, okay, so this has been pre-recorded just before Christmas. I might be getting some more for Christmas to put up. Our problem is that it's not... Okay, so those are fairly expensive, at least for my standards. On top of that, the stuff to put them on the wall properly is just as expensive.
Yeah, it's not cheap. I mean, we could probably come up with a cheap solution, but that's exactly what it would be, and it'd damage the walls coming down in the future.
Well, the idea right now is command strips, and I don't have the time to get enough command strips to put them up, and I want to be able to measure them properly. I need more than 6, so...
Yeah, we definitely need to get that done at some point, though.
Oh, yeah, I mean... Hopefully, Editor Ricky, we don't have echo in here, but prepared for that. I treat the audio so it's at least decent.
Yeah. Oh man.
But yeah, no, the peek behind the curtain. Studio's nowhere near done. It's been forever since our last recording, and we're recording it in December. You're probably not hearing this until February. Shit.
To be fair, though, and hopefully by the time this comes out, things are better and we can look back on this time and laugh, but things with work have just been crazy. I've been working like nothing but mid-shifts. I don't know about you.
Nope, I've been either closing or I've been opening.
Yeah.
Nothing in between.
And it's hard to get anything done when you're, like, I feel like I wake up, I get ready for work, I come home, I go to bed.
I have spite insomnia because I feel like I waste my life at work, and I'm wasting my day going to work. And okay, so I'm gonna explain real quick. When I used to my old position, I would get up early, and I'm not a morning person. I fucking hate getting up early in the morning, but I liked it because I would get up in the morning, I would waste my time at work, and I would get home by 3, and then I had the rest of the day to myself. I felt like I can do things. I can edit videos. I can render stuff. I can play video games. And then I switched jobs. Same place, just I switched positions. And now I work in the middle of the day. So I wake up, I get ready for work. I don't have enough time to do anything. So it's like an hour before work of just whatever. And then go to work, come home, eat dinner, go to bed. Yeah. My days are gone. They're vanished. And it's not like I'm working more hours. It's the same hours, just moved up. So now I don't have time. And the only way to get time is to spitefully exhaust myself and staying up because I feel like I'm getting a little bit more control over my life doing that. And I know it's bad for me, but I'm gonna fucking do it anyway because I feel like I'm wasting my life.
I'm doing the same thing. Like, I'm staying up till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, even though I've got to be up at like 8, just to have time to do the things I want to do. And I'm gonna hit a wall eventually.
Oh yeah, I mean, I've already done that.
Yeah, I've done it a few times, but I cannot wait to have a vacation if I ever get a vacation.
But the problem is like I always say on vacation, I'm gonna get a whole bunch of stuff done. I'm gonna get work on my friend's video game. I'm gonna edit a bunch of videos. I'm gonna record and stream. I've been trying for the past month to do my annual Jack and Daxter playthrough, and I want to stream it this time around. Hopefully, by the time you hear this, I've already done it before 2021. But I don't think I'm gonna get it because I lost my vacation. So.
Yep, we all did.
Honestly, I just want my days back. I want my sunlight back. And I'm not even going to use the sunlight. I'm going to be indoors all day. I'm that kind of a nerd. But, like, I just want my life back. A little bit. A little bit of it.
That and our schedules keep changing up, too. Like, I don't work the same thing week to week. And that just wears on you after a while.
The problem is now, for the last 3 weeks, I've been working exactly the same hours. Well, not the same hours, but the same kind of time frame. And it's always in the wrong times. Like, I have Sunday off, which is great. But my problem is that I do stuff late Sunday, which was made for that because we worked on Sunday, and that was the time everyone was off. So now I have all of Sunday off, and I'm like, but I have to get ready for Chaotic Fails.
Yeah.
So I can't really occupy myself early in the day, because I gotta get ready for that. And now that day is gone. And now I'm like, today was the only day where I'm like, I can do whatever I want. And I chose to do this because, like, this is the only time I can do what I want.
Yeah. And that's the thing, too. Like, a lot of people don't understand. And our manager, he's one of those. He doesn't understand, like, yeah, I get 2 days off a week. Like, I work with a race team through the summer. You know, I'll take that Friday, Saturday, or Saturday, Sunday, whichever I can get, and go racing with it, and that pretty much shoots those days as far as rest, because, I mean, racing is brutal. Mm-hmm. It is very much an athletic sport. You know, he doesn't understand, why don't you just quit that? Well, I still want to do it. Even though it's exhausting, I still want to do it.
But you enjoy it.
Yes. But, no, I desperately need a vacation.
Yeah, because my life does not revolve around our work. I would like it to, but that would be because I'm doing this for a living.
Yeah. If you guys blow us up to where we can do one of these every day, that would be great.
I'll be straight up. Like, I would love people would subscribe and share and like. Don't ring the bell. I honestly hate the bell. Don't fucking do it. It just, all it does is keep sending you emails and it's obnoxious. And yeah, it alerts you to stuff, but honestly, like, I don't like the bell. So don't. Yeah. If you don't ring the bell, don't worry about it. I don't like the bell.
Just get us to where we can get some sponsors to pay for us.
Yeah,
that would be nice.
Just a bullshit.
You know, get us some.
And please actually leave a comment. Like, I don't like to beg for shit like this, but like, I genuinely want to know if anyone actually likes hearing this. Because I do. I listen to our own podcast when I'm just doing shit, as well as other podcasts. Like, I just listen to shit while I'm doing shit.
I'll listen to, if you don't mind the name drop.
Okay.
I love Bill Burr.
Yeah.
I don't know why he's crazy, and he just has a completely different outlook on life. I think that's why I like it. No, I like to listen to him just doing regular stuff around the house. Yeah,
and I listen to the Oddscast and their stupidity, and I love it. It's just a great stupidity. Yeah. I fucking love it. I like they call it the Dadcast sometimes, but it's their Triforce podcast where they usually just bullshit about what they did for the week. And I'm like, I fucking love it. And they'll talk about like stuff that they've seen, or they'll talk about like, and because two of them are dads, they'll talk about dad stuff. And I'm like, I'm not a dad, but I still like that little slice of life. I enjoy that.
I'm getting there. I know you're not into it, but I'm getting to where I want a family.
No, I feel you on that. I'm very much I don't want to say narcissist, even though that's probably more accurate. I like me, and I like doing me stuff, And when other people get into the equation, it's not very good. Like, my past relationships ended because, like, they couldn't keep up with my lifestyle, and I would try to cater to them, but it wouldn't last long because I'm like, I just hate myself at that point if I have to slow down that much. I don't mind slowing down a bit, but, like, I can't settle down. I do too much in a day.
I think a lot of it, too, is finding the right person. I think people get into relationships because they think they have to, but I think once you find that right person, it changes things.
Well, my first relationship was semi-relationship. It's a weird thing. I'm not going to get into it right now because that'll take forever. That'll be the entire episode. But my first relationship didn't work out so well. And I literally did it just to do it because, like, I felt like that would be what I wanted, but it's not what I wanted. The second relationship I went into, I didn't do it because, like, I felt like I needed to. It was because, like, there was a missing piece, and it was killing me. And someone finally was like, I could fill that void. And at first, it was going to be casual, and it ended up becoming more, and the feelings grew. And I learned a lot about myself and about relationships through that, because I was very something I wish more people would do is be a lot more open about, like, with their partners about, like, this is what I expect out of a relationship. This is what I'm looking for. Can you match it or get close?
Yeah.
And that was a problem that I had with my ex, is that every time that conversation came up, I had to walk on eggshells, because if I said something to set him off, I don't have the emotional capability of being able to be there for them because I'm a fixer. Something's wrong, just fix it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to complain about it. I mean, I will, but I'm gonna go fix it.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, your thing broke? I don't know why you're crying about it. I'll just get you a new one. Like, now, 10 seconds, I'll do it. Like, here, take mine. Like, I'm going to fix the problem. And that became a problem within itself.
Yeah, because that's not always what and talking from our point of view,
mm-hmm.
You know, that's not always what a girl wants. They don't always want you to fix something. Sometimes they just want you to listen. Greatest thing I've ever seen, a friend of mine and his wife, if she comes to him and she's got a problem, he will straight look at her and say, is this one of those situations where you want me to help you come up with a solution? Or is this one of those situations where you want me to listen?
Yes.
Yeah. It's hard to tell sometimes. And they came to that agreement that he would ask that question. She would be 100% honest whether she wanted him to just listen or come up with a solution. And they avoided a lot of headache with that.
And that's what I'm talking about. You come up with, I call them the terms and conditions.
Yeah.
When you get into a relationship, you got to lay down those terms and conditions and be like, this is what I'm expecting out of this. And I'm talking about, like, dirty details as well. You got to get in there and say, this is what I'm expecting. And not specifically out of you, but out of us.
Right.
That if we're going to be together, this is how my lifestyle is. What's your lifestyle like? Can we compromise? Can we work within these guidelines? Because, like I said, I'll be straightforward. I had a whole conversation with my ex at one point while we were still very much dating. And I was very out there that, yes, we were dating. We were together. And I told her that I'm okay if we had other partners within. I was open. And I asked her how she felt about it. And she straight up said, no. And I said, that's fine. I will do it for you. And I won't flirt with people. I won't even ask you at any point to be able to be with someone else for a night. It would never cross my mind. And I've told you the story where I was at that party and I called her and I told her what happened. And I said, I'm just leaving. Like, I'm not going to hide it from you. Like, this has happened. I'm at a party. Shit's going downhill. There's a lot of sexual tension here. I'm leaving.
Yeah, wrong place, wrong time of situation.
Well, I mean, it was fun being there for the moment because it was fucking hilarious. But at the time, it was like, I don't know why I'm here. I just want to fucking go home at this point. I'm not... And by the way, it was a bad situation all around, so I wanted to leave. But looking back, I'm like, That's funny. I fucking love that story. I'll tell it on here at one point. It's a little too in depth, but yeah. When it comes to the whole relationship thing, I turned around and did that, and the problem is that she would constantly. God, if she hears this, she's gonna fucking hate me. But she would constantly try to get me somewhat jealous, and she would be like, "Oh, that guy's hot. Like, do you see all this?" And instead of being like jealous, I would encourage her. I'd be like, "No, that I mean, it doesn't."
Probably the wrong card to play.
Well, the thing is, it doesn't do it for me. But I'm like, "Yeah, that's cute. You know, he's cute. Whatever. You know." And then when we separate, when she was at a different college than me, but we were still dating. She would say like, "Oh, this is a guy. He's super cute. He's into me and everything." And he's flirting me, and I'm like, "Hey, like, you know, flirt back. Like, you know, have fun." Because like I'm like, "Look, you gotta scratch an itch, and I don't care because that I don't connect those two together. I know not everyone does, and it makes sense to me why it would. It absolutely does.
Yeah, it very much does for me.
Yeah." But it's something that I came to my conclusion later on where I'm like, it doesn't for me. Like, it does, there's you could do it two different ways. And one will absolutely create that connection, and you can't do it with anyone else like that. And there's one where it's just, it scratches an itch. And that's all it does. And I'm like, Ellen, if you need to scratch that itch, because I won't see you for 2 months. Like, if you need to, I have rules, but go ahead. You have my blessing because I trust you, and my love doesn't stop because of that. I love you not just for you,
right?
But because of who you are. It doesn't, no matter what you have done in that regard, that doesn't stop that emotion from coming through. And I love you to that point where I want to make sure that you're happy regardless. And she said no, she would never, and then turned around and was like, why would you fight for me? And I'm like, this isn't a movie. This isn't a book. This isn't a story. This is real life. I'm laying down, we've laid down terms and conditions of like, I love you, but if you found someone that is better, that makes you feel better than with me, I will let you go because I want you to be happy no matter what. And you might call that a weak move. And I know people on the internet would be like, he's such a fucking cuck for that. But it's like, no, that's not, like, if
there's two sides to that, too. Like, not only do you want them to be happy, but also looking at it from the aspect of, and I've actually kind of been in this situation where a girl acted like she was interested in me, and then the guy she really wanted to date broke up with his girlfriend. And she jumped at that opportunity. Mm-hmm. And honestly, that didn't bother me.
Yeah.
Because if I wasn't her first choice...
It doesn't matter.
I'm not going to stick around to be the second choice.
Yeah.
Like, you know, if I'm not your first choice, it's not that I don't want to see you eat. You're not going to eat at my table. You know,
yeah.
Because, you know...
But
I'm not here to be the second option.
But that's my thing. Is like if you think that there's someone not only better, but there's someone who fulfills that role, why do I need to fight for you? Because that all I'm doing is basically saying, yeah, I want my happiness, but fuck you.
Yeah.
And I know that's the macho thing to do, and I'm like, but that just seems like being a dick.
It isn't though.
It's not. Like, the thing is, I do feel upset when people give everything for their girl, and their girl leaves them for someone who's a scumbag, and it's clearly a scumbag, and she's doing it because it's a fling of the moment. And once again, guys do the same thing.
Yeah,
like they absolutely do.
Yeah,
so it's either or, and it can be. And once again, this also doesn't go with straight. This is also anything in between.
Yes, any relationship where one party gives 100% and then the other party kind of stabs them in the back and goes with the scumbag option, which happens a lot. But
it happens a lot.
And that's really sad. And then what's really aggravating is when they come crawling back and then they want.
But that's the thing, is that that's why I opened that box where I'm like, if you want the night because you need to scratch that itch, go ahead. I'll be straight up. I'm not great at everything. There are things I can't do that I'm not going to say right now because I don't think anyone in the podcast really wants to get into that. But there are things I can't do, and that's perfectly fine because there's things that other people can't do, and there's some things that people can do, and you want that itch. I'm like, look, like I'm away from that. That's fine. I don't care. It's perfectly fine. But that's the thing, is that reeling back to what I was trying to say in the first place, is that, like, you gotta open up with those terms and conditions. Because if you don't, shit spirals out of control. There are things that she wouldn't tell me was bothering her. She wanted me to just know. And text doesn't convey emotion.
Mm-hmm. And it's tough, like, I'm gonna be honest, guys in general, when it comes to, like, knowing girls' emotions, we're pretty stupid.
We're set one way, not the other.
Yeah, we're wired differently. You know, we I know it sounds cliche, but we really do need a billboard with flashing lights to tell us what to do. Because we're dumb. I mean, if you want a compliment, you know, don't walk in, do you notice anything different? Walk in, hey, do you like this new dress?
Yeah,
we'll give you that compliment.
It's literally the phrasing is all that needs to change.
Yes. Because we're stupid.
Because if you're giving if you want an honest opinion, we'll give you an honest opinion. It's not something you're gonna like. It's not even like it's a bad opinion. It's not like we're saying, no, you're ugly. We're gonna give you something and be like, hey, here's just what I think. But hey, if you like, I have a thing where like, if you like it, then that's good. I have a great story for this. I can't tell, unfortunately, because this goes beyond.
Going back to the dress analogy, you know, do you think this dress complements my hair?
Mm-hmm.
You know, the specific compliment that you want, ask us that question, and we'll give you that compliment.
I mean, to be honest, the reason that once again, we're two straight guys in here. We don't have any other frame of reference to reference right now.
That's fair.
So I'm just setting where we are right now in our eyes. So that way people are like, oh, they're talking for everyone. Like, no.
Mm-hmm.
This is from this perspective. Women will do that because they want you to have a earnest opinion. They want you to give an earnest thing. But here's the thing. Just because we don't say it doesn't mean we don't think it. Right. And it's just that we are conditioned from childhood. This is something that should change, 100%. We're conditioned from childhood that men don't give out compliments unless they want something.
Yes.
And if we were to give out compliments so willy-nilly, they would be devalued. And that's not true. But that's what we're conditioned to believe. So it's hard to break those
I think
things.
A lot of it too, and I'm not speaking against, I guess the term for it would be like the Me Too movement.
I guess
has done a lot of damage, and I'm not saying like it's purely a bad thing. That's not what I'm saying. But in this specific regard, as far as like men complimenting women, you know, you can be, you know, people will make the jump. I held a door open for a lady, and she thought that I was trying to get with her.
Yeah.
And frankly, I didn't even realize it was a woman. I just saw another human being walking into the store as I was walking out, so I held the door open, and she lost her mind. I'm not saying all women do that. Again, I'm just saying that is something that kind of...
It's a mentality. I wouldn't say it's the Me Too movement necessarily, but I get where you're coming from.
Yeah, I can't think of the specific term, but kind of like this like modern extreme feminism.
Yeah, it's extreme. It's like third wave extreme feminism.
Yeah, like it's not even like feminist in general. It's like the extremist.
Well, that's why I say third wave extreme, because there is some people in the third wave who actually have legit points. They're trying to push.
Oh yeah,
and
absolutely.
I'm on board with what they want, but it's more or less that like there's an extreme.
It's the kill all men feminists that we're talking about. The ones that are, oh, if you see a guy in the street, you should just kill him. Those ones, and they are out there.
Well, I mean, there's everyone for that general idea. Like, there's the opposite, where it's the women haters.
Yes.
And
yeah, absolutely.
I forget what they called them originally. Meninist or something like that?
There's misogynist.
No, not misogynist. Meninist. It was a movement like feminism, but it was for men. And at first, their opening statements make sense. It's like, hey, men can do this too. And I'm like, well, I mean, yeah, that's fair. And then it would go into like, yeah, but it's perpetuated by women. I'm like, okay, now we're going to we're gonna pump the brakes a little bit here.
Yeah. There's extremism on both sides, and both sides the extremism does damage.
Oh yeah, and of course, like I said, as a guy, I don't see too many of it on the men's side because I'm on that side. I'm a man, so I'm not gonna. Well,
and
not
I don't
just a man.
surround myself with those kind of people either.
Yeah, well, that too. The only reason I see the other side often is because not only do I have to look for it, because once again, because I'm male, and I am fine with putting that online when questions are asked. I've only shown one side of the conversation.
Right.
Like if I put in Democrat, I get only the Democrat side of the guy. If I put in that I'm a farmer, I'm only going to get farming references in mail.
Exactly.
If I put in that I fucking like Coke, I will never see a Pepsi ad, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. It's like things are very targeted, and it is on both sides. It damages on both sides because, you know, like I said, you got the extreme, like I said, I'm going to go with the term extreme feminism. I'm not sure if that would be the appropriate term.
No, that's fine. That works.
Keep in mind, I'm talking very loosely here, not pointing fingers. But, you know, going, you know, with that side of things, it does damage to, you know, because now guys have to double think. You know, can holding the door open for me get something portrayed that's not there? If I compliment this random woman that I like her hair, is she going to think I'm trying to get in her pants? You know, when genuinely I just think her hair looks pretty. You know, it's not, and holds no meaning other than I think your hair looks pretty.
And that's a problem I've been dealing with all the time when I talk with people, and I try to be nice and everything. I've just learned to ignore everyone and everything, so I don't have to worry about it. Yeah. And like I said, once again, this can go on the other side. I'm sorry I have to keep stating these things, but I feel like it's necessary.
Yes.
Especially in this day and age. But
well, to speak to the other side, I mean, the guys who are very misogynistic, you know, the woman haters.
Yeah.
You know, that is perpetuated a lot in social media and news and movies and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden you get this whole concept that, oh, well, all guys, you know, want is, you know, this certain thing, and they're all jerks and none of them care about, you know, then that's not the truth.
But I was going to say the other side of, like, with, I mean, you're right on that one, but I'm saying the other side with, where women have to do the same thing. They have to double think about what they're doing, like when they dress up, and it's like, well, what are people going to think? And I'm like, well, one, I kind of get that, because being pressurized from my end, that we're told that if someone is dressed like that, that's what they want. And, I mean, I fought against that for years, where now I'm just aware that as long as you're wearing what's comfortable is fine. The thing is that sometimes it is true, and it hurts in general because of it. Where where women will dress a little more quote unquote scantily, and they're doing it for that reason, which hurts people who are doing it because it's comfortable.
Right.
And like same thing with guys. Like if I was to change my style, so normally I wear a lot of black shirts. I'm wearing an orange Goku shirt today because all my shirts are in the wash right now. So, and the last shirt I was wearing was too tight. I'm kind of the last bit of my stereotype for men. I'm in the last bit of my laundry, so
yeah.
Wait till the last minute to do laundry.
Oh, dude, I still haven't done my laundry. So
I should have done laundry like 2 weeks ago. So I'm on like the last bit.
If it's true,
it is. It's still a stereotype because it can be true, but it's the stereotype is the fact that you pin it on a certain type of person.
That's fair.
That's the stereotype. And once again, like I said, like I'm trying to say right now, the stereotype with the women dressing scantily clad because they're showing off for guys, it is true in some cases. But once again, you can't put it on everyone because I know women who do that and I know women who don't wear bras because it's uncomfortable and they're not trying to show off. They want to be comfortable. And that's kind of my point. And some girls wear bras because they feel comfortable in them and they want something nice because I want something nice. I'm wearing nice underwear. No one's going to see it, but that's for me.
Exactly.
That's the thing. And I'm glad that that's a thing that people are accepting now is that they can wear nice underwear and not have to be showing off for anyone because it's nice to them. I think I'm wearing Guitar Hero once, so it's nice for me. But
when did we? I don't know when it started. It seems like it's been coming for a long time, and it's just gradually gotten worse and worse and worse. But When are we gotten so, one, sensitive, and two, judgmental?
Here's the thing: we've always been like this. It's just now that we have information, we
Yeah.
can finally see what it's like on the other side. People can now speak up and say their side of the story, and everyone can listen and hear it and understand. Uh, the best way. Okay, so I'm a history person, so I'm going to go into history. We see this happen every once in a while. Going to Sinclair's The Jungle, exploring the meat industry and how awful it is. Most people reading it probably wouldn't even give a shit normally about the working man and what he has to go through in the meat industry on top of what goes in your food. But Sinclair exposed it not worldwide, but nationally, so people could finally see. And that's the thing with the internet and why it's a good and bad thing. We're spreading information quicker, so now we can understand more point of views really quick. But at the same time, to understand that point of view is to recognize the demons within ourselves. Right. Things that aren't specifically us, but unfortunately are attached to us. And we fight against it. So we see it as oversensitivity when really it's just we're backlashing. And the problem is our backlash causes more backlash, and it gets worse and worse and worse as it goes between people. So It goes from being conscious of a problem to trying to defend against the smallest issue that really isn't an issue and bounces back and forth because we're trying to find a way to defend our side and we're trying to find a small example and expand upon it. I know I do that all the time with animation stuff, where I will forgive shit animation because of this one thing I really like and I want to defend it.
Right.
And I catch myself doing it now, and I try to stop it. It's not working, but I will still defend Johnny Test.
Another kind of going back to the way people dress, I wear, like right now I've got a 4-wheel drive Nationals t-shirt on. It's got big diesel trucks on the back. Mm-hmm. I walk around in boots and blue jeans all the time. People could probably draw a pretty good judgment. Well, I won't say pretty good, but they can draw a judgment of who I am based on what I'm wearing. Mm-hmm. And it'd be the farthest thing from the truth. Like, yeah, I like big trucks. I like boots because they're comfortable and, they got steel toes in them and I'm clumsy. I've saved my feet so many times wearing steel toes.
I love steel toe. It's great.
You should see my old pair, dude. They look like they went through, like, Vietnam, Korea, World War III. Like, they are beat all to death. I finally got a new pair. But, I wear them because they save my feet, And I'm a little country, but I'm not, like, backwoods, hillbilly racist country. Like I said, I like big trucks. I like, farming, stuff like that. But I'm not like, racist and all this. Like I've had so many people draw conclusions on that. And it's the farthest thing from the truth. But on the flip side,
there's some judgment that is accurate. You like cars.
Yeah. Well, and on the flip side too, I can say the same thing happens to the other side of the aisle too. You see some dude who's got dreads and, baggy jeans. He's wearing Jordans and stuff like that. People could draw conclusions that could be the farthest thing from the truth. I mean, he might be a down-home country boy. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
you
absolutely.
Just don't know. So, like I said, I think we've gotten to judgment, or
we've gotten to the point where we have to. It's a mental thing where we have to judge people. We can't avoid it because it's a survival instinct, and the problem is we need to curb it. We need to do general judgments.
To judge, but not to the point where you take that into action.
Yes, that's what I'm trying to describe, and I just couldn't get it out.
Yeah, no, and it's tough to get out because it's a very touchy, very complex issue.
And it's you have to lean your judgments away from specific notions that aren't something that's clearly not true. You have to bring that judgment away, and then you judge based on action.
Yeah.
And you judge based on specific actions. And yes, you have to judge people from how they look on the outside, the way they carry themselves, the way they walk, the way they do things. There will be a natural judgment of that. You can't get away from that. It's impossible.
Yeah. It's an ingrained survival. That's like, for me, for example, if I'm walking through the park and I see a group of people that are acting sketchy, and I'm not even talking race-wise. I'm just talking in general because I've seen some really sketchy, methed out white dudes.
Oh, yeah.
Especially around here in Indianapolis.
I mean, upstate New York, same thing.
Yeah, a lot of meth. But, you see a sketchy group of people. There's a little bit of judgment that goes on in the back of your mind that says, I might want to take a nice, keep some distance there, just because that's a sketchy situation. They could just be hanging out and talking, and they just look sketchy, but it's a survival instinct.
It is, and that's what I'm saying, is it doesn't matter what it is. It's just the difference is judging because they're black and you walk away versus judging they are sitting on the side of a road. They're in raggedy clothes and they're holding, and not necessarily holding a sign saying they're homeless, but they're holding something in your hand that you can't see. I'm going to make that judgment. They could totally be doing nothing wrong. I'm still going to make that judgment that they are probably something sketchy, and I'm going to be careful, but I'm not going to be like, well, I'm going to immediately assume they're terrible and I'm going to walk away.
Right.
Because it happens to me.
You're going to keep an eye on the situation, but you don't let it consume you.
And like I said, that kind of shit happens to me, and it doesn't upset me as much as it used to. Because once again, it's never going to be as bad as like a race thing. It's never going to be as bad as being a different sexuality and trying to express it. I'm a metalhead.
Yeah.
I walk into a store, if I was to dress in, like, I'm in ripped jeans right now, if I was to wear, like, my metal shirt and my hair all out, and I have a very neutral face when I walk into places with headphones on, and I do things fast, people would think I'm stealing. And I've caught myself walking into a store and being watched by employees.
Oh, yeah.
And the thing is, I actually don't blame them for it, because there are terrible metalheads out there who will do that type of shit. I used to know them.
Yeah.
So I'm very much like, and I feel bad about it to an extent, and I feel bad about, like, I feel awful in general, but, like, at the same time, I'm like, they're just doing their job, it's fine, whatever. I get judged. And like I said, it's never going to be as bad as in some cases. No. In most cases.
We can't walk a mile in the shoes, but we can...
I could take a couple of steps and at least have a base understanding.
Right. Because like I said, I've had the same thing done for me, like I said, dressing the way I dress and kind of talking the way I talk, because I do have a little bit of a southern accent.
Little?
Fair enough.
If you came to Long Island and opened your mouth for 2 seconds, they'd be like, you're some fucking southerner.
Yeah, they'd probably start playing Sweet Home Alabama.
Oh yeah, no, straight up.
Even though I've never been to that state.
I get the same thing from being from New York. You come down there and then, like,
everybody thinks you're in the mob.
You're in the mob? I'm Italian too, it makes it worse. You're in the mafia. Or you love bagels. I'm from Long Island and don't like bagels. Which, a lot of people from Long Island are going, and everyone else is going like, but that doesn't exist.
Pizza rolls are Italian gushers.
I
heard that on TikTok today and I died laughing. But no, like, I think everybody gets judged to a certain extent. Like I said, I just wish we could... Just as people judge a little less, get to know some people, we have a lot in common.
The thing is, I don't think we should judge a little less. I just think that the judgment should always be in the back of the mind.
Don't take the judgment as far as we take it. That's a better statement.
I'm okay with people judging anyone in any way from the get-go, but you don't act upon it. You can think about it in the back of your mind. You can let it stay there. But you act with civility towards everyone, no matter what. And like I said, if you feel you need to take a couple of precautions, okay. But make sure that the judgment you're making is based on action, not on preconceived notion. Yes.
Yeah. Because like I said, it does go... Everybody gets it to an extent, and some get it way worse than others. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to deny that fact. I don't experience... racism to the level that other people do. I don't experience issues with...
I know a lot of people will argue this, but it is technically a slight privilege. It's not privilege in the way of, well, you get everything. It's more in, we are privileged in the idea that we don't have to worry about it because of what we were born into. and it's not something to be like in my case, I just kind of don't care anymore. Not because I mean I am privileged to not care, but like I'm saying I don't care anymore in that fact because it's not about the fact that I am privileged. It's the fact that at the end of the day I don't use it.
Right.
I don't use it to abuse it. It's the idea that yes, I get it. Uh, history. I know the history. I know how it is. I know how it's been. I love history, so I've studied it. We're at a point now where the history needs to slowly emphasize the idea that no matter what you think of as a privilege, it doesn't matter as long as we just not ignore. That's a bad way of saying it, but we push for the fact that we don't need it.
Right.
We should be not necessarily equal because that's another one of those things where it's like the equality based on skill.
Yeah.
Based on
equality is a very touchy term.
Same with freedom. Like when people
Yeah.
complain about their freedoms, I'm like, you don't actually have freedom, and you don't want it.
No.
You don't want the type of freedom that people ask for.
You don't want pure freedom. Yeah.
Pure freedom is anarchy and awful.
Which you mean they'd probably be cool for about 24 hours. And
It's cool for 10 minutes until you realize that to be pure anarchy, you can't have friends or family.
Yeah. But no, I would agree with that to an extent. Like, everybody wants to talk about, like equal opportunity. I stand 100% behind equal opportunity. I don't stand behind equal results.
Actually, there was a big thing where you don't want equality. You want, not equity, what was it? It's another big word, I can't remember. But basically it's the idea that it's not, because equality isn't equal. It's not.
Yeah. I want fairness, not equality.
I want general fairness, because true fairness isn't fair either.
Right.
Like, think of the elective process. It's not fair.
No.
Because just because most people wanted one thing isn't fair for a community that doesn't require it and needs special attention.
Yeah.
It's not fair for an area that has different needs to be dictated by someone who doesn't give a shit about those needs because it's not in their voting district. And once again, this goes for every side. Voting first past the post sounds like the fairest way to do it. It is the most unfair. And I'm actually one of those people who think the Electoral College, while broken, is technically necessary.
It is. Actually, the coolest thing I've seen, and again, this is just an idea I've seen. I would have to do a lot more research to see how viable it is. But somebody was talking about if a state has, say, 10 different electoral votes, then you would break up the counties in that state into 10 different districts, per se. And however those district votes is where that electoral went. So if you had, like, for example, Georgia's a big one with Atlanta. Atlanta almost always goes Democrat, while the vast majority of Georgia goes conservative. And that's not really a fair consensus to throw Georgia under Democrat for all of it because 90% of the state didn't vote Democrat. And there's other places where it's flip-flopped, where there might be a large, section that is conservative, that, the most of the state is liberal, but it goes conservative because that one area dictates everything.
And that's why first past the post is terrible. And that's why Electoral College basically makes it somewhat fair in some areas, but it's all based on the idea that states are allowed to vote for themselves and do their own voting, which is another problem I have.
Yeah.
But on top of that, to go on top of that, the better way to vote would be the three vote method, where you get 3 votes. You get your first pick, your second pick, and your I guess so pick.
Yeah.
And the idea is that if your first pick can't make it and is just bottom rung, they can't do anything, they take those votes and give it to your second pick. So now, let's say, because now everyone can do it, I vote, I'll be straight up, I'm independent, so I tend not to vote for the main parties for my own political reasons, but I'm not going to push on anyone. But I will vote third party, I know they're not going to win in first past the post. It's never going to happen.
Right.
But in this way, I feel more inclined to vote third party because I know there's a possibility. Because even if the first one I wanted couldn't make it, I don't have to be like, well, I'm throwing my vote away to someone who I don't want more. I'm now taking my vote and saying, well, if I can't have them, I at least want them.
Right.
And if that doesn't get you there, that's when the third comes in. And the only time the third one comes in is if literally no one's won, no one's gotten past that post, and all the other votes don't count for it, and that second choice you had doesn't go anywhere near winning, then they'll take those votes and put it up. Actually, shout out to CPG Gray. I'll try to put that in the comments. Not comments, in the
description.
In the description, the link to that video that describes this method. I 100% on it. Once again, it's not that it's a perfect method, but it's fairer and it's better than what you would think would be the most fair one. Your vote, one vote to who you want. It seems the most fair. It's actually the most unfair.
Did you see the video where they took, and I cannot remember where they were from, but they took so many of those Dominion voting machines, and they all took them straight from the election, put them in a room, like everything had been done with them. They put them in a room, numbered them all, and then randomly chose them.
Yeah.
And then they took and they did the test to see how accurate they were. Have you seen that video?
No, I haven't.
So, and it goes both ways.
Mm-hmm.
There were, like, they did yes, no, and then I think there was a maybe. And it changed votes. So, like, you would put yes, and it would come out no. And they're like, oh, well, maybe it's just printing out wrong, and they went back and checked in the log, and it legitimately flipped it from a yes to a no.
And that's another problem if we're going to really get into this. This is probably the last thing we're going to do before we get to the segment I want to do. But I have a problem with states controlling their own voting, and it makes sense in the long run.
With private party or like private companies creating the machine. I think it needs to be a joint venture between government and private. Yeah,
but that's the thing is like government regulation with a private contract on top of. I don't think states should dictate how voting works for national
there
government.
Needs to be a standard.
A standard. And I get that in the beginning... Okay, so going back to the beginning of the revolution, the idea is that states don't actually give a shit about each other. They're just together for their own needs. Didn't work out.
No.
Doesn't work out. So states need to have their rights for their own borders. But anything that's outside the borders is supposed to be federal government dictating. Why is it that the states still get to vote the way they do? It only ends in disaster every time. Right. And once again, like I said, I'm independent. I don't care for Democrats or Republicans or what's going on right now in politics. I don't give a shit. Because I'm looking at it from a different point of view where I'm looking at it as a political spectrum and not from my specific leaning. Even though a lot more people say I'm left-leaning while you're right-leaning. But we tend to try to stay in the middle bubble.
I try to stay in the middle because, I mean, I separate my belief from policy.
Yeah.
I can separate, like, I might be against something personally, but as long as, and I have certain standards, and, like, there's some things where I'm just like, there's no
argument there.
Yes, there's no argument for me that it's wrong. And I cannot compromise on that situation. I think everybody has those.
Everyone's got their bottom line.
Yeah, everybody's got their line. But there's certain things that I disagree with that I don't necessarily think should be illegal, And for a lot of people on the right-leaning side, gay marriage is one of those issues where, we might disagree with it, but at the end of the day, you do you. I'm not going to judge you. I'm not going to throw stones. I don't think you should be persecuted for it, even if, it's not my thing. Like I said, I have personal beliefs on it, but I'm not going to sit here and throw rocks. I mean, most of our friends group is in the alphabet.
Yeah.
What are they calling it now? The Alphabet Mafia or something like that?
I have no idea. They changed those names.
It was something like really cool that I was like, okay, I got to give it to you. That's pretty. Yeah. I think it was like the Alphabet Mafia. If that's wrong, I'm sorry.
I have friends in the LGBT community. I also my sister is in the LGBT community, and like I said, I'm on the side where I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
It's do you.
It's not my thing.
Yeah.
But, you know, you do you. I'm not going to sit here and throw stones.
That's the thing.
I don't think you should be prosecuted for it. But
I'm a straight male, and I'm fine with that. And if someone says, like, yo, I'm gay, and I prefer to be using female pronouns, and I guess technically trans, it depends. It all really depends.
I try, and my thoughts on that, too. If you are just saying it and you're not like changing your appearance or anything like that, I understand where you're coming from, but you also got to understand that people are going to call you a guy.
Yeah.
Like if you look like a guy, you talk like a guy, you present like a guy, you're probably going to be called a guy. And that's not like me trying to be hateful or anything like that. Like I hate when people are like, "It's ma'am," and it's like, okay, I'm sorry, but I had no warning on that whatsoever.
If you politely ask, like, hey, it's ma'am, I will 100% swap that out for you.
I might slip, but
I've already told my friends who are trans, I will slip and I apologize for it, but just understand
it's not intentional.
I hear a male voice, I'm gonna say he. It's unintentional, and I want you to know that it's okay. I want to be on your side, but note that it will happen.
Yes.
It takes me a long time.
Don't get like go off on somebody because they said he. If you are, like I said, if you,
I'm a straight
talk, walk.
I'm a straight guy, and everyone over the phone says ma'am, and I don't even correct them anymore. I don't care. It doesn't bother me.
No, you get when in customer service, there's a certain level of dead inside that you just.
That is also very fair. That's also incredibly true. But I don't care if people misgender me. I don't care.
I get called all kinds of different names at work. Ma'am, she, he.
I mean, it's bad because I have long hair, so sometimes people will do that. Back. People will say, and then they'll freak out, and I'm like, look, I don't care. Sometimes I think that when I turn around and say hi, but I don't correct them, that they think I might actually be trans, and they debate whether to use feminine pronouns or masculine pronouns, and I'm just like, I really shouldn't be getting joy out of this, but I think it's hilarious that they're struggling with this, and I'm just gonna let it go.
You see the panic in their eyes and the smoke coming out of their ears.
Yep. And the thing is, if they ask, I'll straight up tell them, like, hey, whatever pronouns make you feel better. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I know what you're talking about. I don't care.
And another thing, too, I use dude a lot.
I use dude unisexually.
Yeah. One of the girls at work, I call her dude all the time. Mm-hmm. I call you dude all the time. I call some of our friends dude, Hey guys, it's not like, I don't know, like I said, going back to I think people are really touchy on things.
Yeah.
And I understand, but I think people need to take a deep breath and relax.
Like, if you were being aggressively hit with it, then yeah, go fucking nuts. But more often than not, like, whenever I've experienced it, and this, once again, this is anecdotal, this is not a fact, but whenever I've experienced it, usually someone flipping out is because someone kind of, not slip, but just kind of said it with like straight up, like, so what is he doing? And it wasn't intentional because they didn't know.
Right.
And then the person would flip out, and I'm like, you don't need to flip, you can calm down, you can calm down about that. Sometimes it's because of how it's said, and it hits and it triggers wrong, and the person just reacts. But the problem is, once you do that, if you don't turn around and be like, I'm sorry, it's...
Now you're a jerk.
Yeah, but that's the thing is, unfortunately, people like to fight, and I don't get it.
I don't
either. Well, we're going to end it there just because we want to get to other segments. But we got a new segment for you.
We do.
Something I've been building up.
That got deep.
Oh yeah, trust me. I can. If it wasn't for the fact I'm actually aware of time, I would get deeper.
Oh yeah, it could have gotten much deeper, but that got pretty deep.
I'm at least trying to get under 2 hours, guys. I'm trying. This podcast, the movie.
Yes.
So, So,
half hour, we're going to double that. And then double it again.
So, I have a new segment I want to call 2 Questions and a Rebuttal. And the idea of this is I'm going to... one person gets to ask a question. And then the other person is going to answer it. The person who asked the question cannot say anything until the end of the answer. Then they can only ask another question. It's usually a follow-up or maybe a secondary question to go on top of that question. Any question, but they can't add anything. Just a question. The other person then gets a chance, will then explain their answer. And then once their answer is done, that is when the person who gave the question can then give their rebuttal and their statement. And the person who answered then can't say anything. And to explain why I'm doing it this way, while watching the debates, I just got fucking really annoyed about people not only interrupting, but no one getting a question answered. So I thought, let me experiment with this and see if I can do this as a way of, like, I guess it's more like an interview exercise that I think is really interesting, and I want to try it out. So
this might be a complete failure.
Oh, it might be. But the only way to know is to do it.
So, bear with us.
Failure is the only way to get better.
Yes.
So, and like I said, I guess the entire channel's motto is do a little better every time. So, it'll suck first, but it'll get better.
Yeah.
So, do you want to go first? Or do you want me to go first?
You can go ahead and go first.
Okay.
I'll let you be the conversation starter.
All right. So my first question for you is, I mean, I guess you can use other examples to help you examine this, but if you could make, no matter what your skill level is, if you had all the skills, money, technology, doesn't matter if it rates well, doesn't matter anything, if you can make the game of your dreams, what would it be?
Ooh, okay. That is a good one. Ooh, that's a good one. I gotta think on that for a second. So, the game of my dreams would probably be The Last of Us 2, but right. Because they did something really, really, really wrong. Just with the timing of things. Like, they had the right idea, the right concepts, the right characters, but they did the timing wrong. By the way, spoilers. Lots of spoilers. So many spoilers. But, you know, they kill off Joel from the first one immediately. Like, within the first 15 minutes. And then you play as Ellie, like, for what I think in the game is like 5 or 6 days. And then you switch to the character that killed Joel and play as her from her side of things. Which, the reason she killed Joel is he killed her dad in the hospital in the first game. He was the surgeon. So I think they should have taken her story and done it first. And then kind of let everything up from there. If that makes any sense. It's like have you play as her, go through different things with her, get attached to that character, and then hit you with the, are you, on Ellie's side of things, or are you on Abby's side of things? So I think that's going to be my answer for the first one is The Last of Us 2, but with the timelines fixed and get you a little more attached to Abby. Because I feel like I didn't care about her enough. I wanted to, but...
So then my follow-up question would be, so if you were to, your perfect game would be a remake of this. So within that context, would you change the mechanics? Is there anything besides the story that you would need to change to make it better?
I think the mechanics of it were great. I would like, as always, I want to see smarter AI in the game. Last of Us 2 does a pretty good job with it, but some of the AI are kind of stupid, unless you're playing on, like, really, really hard difficulty. But they do a good job with it, so I don't think there's anything mechanics-wise, graphics in the game, while they could be a little bit better, they're pretty good for what we have. considering it's a console game. I know you're a PC master race, but considering it's for PS4, it's pretty good graphics. Gameplay, I love the button layout and just the fighting style in the game. It is very survival based, so I would leave the base game mechanics alone. Maybe make things make a little more sense, but that's about it. Just kind of general physics, but like, you shouldn't be able to walk across the air duct that's been hanging across the hole for 20 years as a full-grown adult. That's just not very realistic. But, things like that. That'd be about all I'd change.
Alright, so for my rebuttal, I'm probably going to go and on a limb and basically suggest that for the most part, the game of your dreams technically already exists. It just, a few tweaks would be great. I have the same feeling where the game of my dreams almost already exists in like 3 separate properties that if combined would be great. But like, I like that the idea that the only major, like, you hang on to the story so well that the only real changes you would really need is just fixing the story to a different form of narrative. And I like that. I like that as a major change that you would put into it. But that you've already found a game that you love this is the game of your dreams already. That's already come to life. And that's pretty much my rebuttal.
Okay. And I'm actually going to ask you the same question, because that's a good question. I'm curious what your answer is. Okay.
So this might be a long first answer. That whatever your follow-up is going to be probably a little shorter. But I want a God game. So I'm going to start with that. That's the genre it's going to be. It's going to be a God game. But I want it to be... Basically, Spore got the closest to what I want. Minecraft perfected the aspects I liked. And SimCity kind of got the ball rolling on what I want. I want a game where you open up, where you have a race of something. Either you can create that minion... Actually, no, it's Game of My Dreams. You can create the life that you want. And you can start at any stage. So you can start at Caveman, you can start it at Middle. Also, Civ would be a really good example here. You could start at any point. But from there, you pretty much start resource management right out the gate. You're a small society of cave people building up. And as you build, you're able to get all this stuff together. And not only are you gathering resources, you can design every fucking thing, every build, and you don't have to. There's obviously defaults that would be there. But you can design what these buildings look like, and these things can interact with them exactly as you built them. It would understand, because there would be small coding aspects that you can put in to basically say, this is a door, this is what the door does, and if you know coding, you can get more out of it than, a simple person would, but the same person could get the same out. And on top of that, as you go through these decades and you do the research and you get everything together and you build all these things, there's an AI or another player doing the same exact thing on another side of your continent or on another continent or on the other side of the world or on another fucking planet. It doesn't matter. They are building up with you. And, of course, like I said, it would be a limited thing. Online would be cool, but I don't think that would be part of my dream. I would like it to be more of a local multiplayer, or it could be an online multiplayer, but something where you would be building with a friend. And it's a slow build. It's not a game you would finish in a day. This is like you play for 3 hours, once a day, every day, for a month, and you're pretty much halfway through the game. And you build up with that, and then you can go to war with people. You can fight. You can create policies and politics with it. And you can build these buildings. You can manage more of these resources. And you can go all out with it. And that's like the game of my dreams. Where it's the ultimate God game. It has all the management stuff I like. It has the resource management system and gathering resources, so it doesn't give you everything all at once. It has the city management system. It has strategy. It has I like the combat in Civ. It's excellent. It has the Minecrafting capability of being able to build your own stuff in your own civilization. And the kicker of it all is that you can take one of your NPCs, the little people, and you can go into their shoes so you can walk in your own fucking towns and cities. That is the perfect game for me. I don't give a shit if anyone likes that idea or would make it. If I had infinite resources, didn't have to care about what other people thought, that would be the game I would build.
Okay. Now, going into that, because I'm sitting there imagining the kind of computer that would be required to run, what would, keeping the same concept, money's no issue, resources are no issue, describe to me the build of your dreams as far as computer.
The computer build. Oh, God.
No limit.
Oh, God, that hurts because there's so many. I can go 3 different ways with it, but I think the actual build I would love to do in general would be, I mean, I'm going to go Threadripper because it's the build of my dreams with no money and no restrictions. So I want a processor, probably Threadripper would be the closest to it, that can process things like quickly. It doesn't have to be like the greatest processor, but like if I click on something, I want it open immediately with everything showing. Like no waiting. I want boom, done. I want it to be a big build. Like it's not going to be some micro little computer. I want it to be big. I want it to be furniture in my room. Big. Like I'm using it to show off. I want it to be, and I'm one of those people who like the fridge. I guess people would call it the refrigerator look, where it's just a standing tower, kind of like the Xbox One X,
right?
SX, whatever the new fucking thing is. I want it to be like that, but bigger. And I want it to have displays. It displays the time. It displays what temperature it is outside, what temperature is inside the computer. I don't want water cooled because I think that's dumb. I don't like that. I want air cooled. And I want it to be, I want it to look cool. I want it to glow, but I don't just want it to glow. I want things to exist inside of it, like little miniatures just existing within, like a diorama that I can switch out at will. So it can be like, for Christmas, there's like little Christmas figurines or something like that. Something that keeps it interesting, like going to like on Christmas when you go to like a store window front and you see their little display and like that small bit of joy you get from that. I want that every time I look at my computer. Like that's the coolest fucking thing I've ever seen. Like looking at my shelf with all my knickknacks. Like that's the coolest shit I like and I want to see it. And I want to be able to change it at will so it changes what I want. And I want it to like, instead of with startup sounds, I want to do like crazy startup sounds that I can change. And I want it to, I like a black case because that's nice and sleek. And I want it to have the, like I said, the clock and everything on it. And I want everything on it to like represent me. Like I want like etchings in it of like fandoms I like and like of things that are me. I want like, man, thinking about it now, like I want the graphics to be so fucking phenomenal. I can run 8K if I wanted to without even thinking about it.
Yeah.
So I can have 2 4K monitors on top of each other. Better yet, 16K. So I have 4 of them up against each other. It would be amazing. I want to be able to plug in as many fucking monitors as I want into it so I can have like a whole system up. And of course, I want it to run, I guess Windows is the best one for me because I want to learn Linux. And I want it to be able to, like, forever exist in that bubble of the most up-to-date, fully working, not, updates and it breaks kind of shit, fully working programs. And I want it to be able to, I can update that system without ever having to change out parts, which I know is impossible. Which is why I'm doing it for the dream computer. As a dream, I would never have to switch out too many parts. Like, I would never have to remove the motherboard. Actually, that would be the best thing. The motherboard never needs to be switched out. I don't mind if I have to switch out the RAM. I don't mind if I have to switch out the processor to upgrade. I want it to be that board will always remain, because that's the most pain-in-the-ass thing to remove. And, of course, the power supply doesn't take up too much power. Once again, impossible, but for what I want, but it would take up all the power. And I think that really covers it. I think the last thing I would like is that it had wire management. I mean, that's a dream because I never do that.
Wire management is amazing.
Yeah.
There's some people out there that I've seen that just have god-level wire management in their computers, and it makes me so mad.
Oh, yeah.
Because I don't have that kind of patience.
Yeah, so now it's your rebuttal.
So, I agree with 90% of what you said, except I don't want something that big. If I could get everything you just said, but in a smaller package. Maybe not the diorama thing, like with the characters inside. I like the idea, but not really my thing. I'd rather have like something else as a centerpiece. But no, I like your concept there. The Threadripper is just a beast, so of course you'd have to go with that. It's what, 64 cores?
I believe so. I don't know offhand.
Something ridiculous. Can you go with multiple processors? Is that a thing?
Yes and no. Yes, you can. No, there's not really many motherboards that do that. And if they do, they have like 2.
Yeah.
1 and 1.
I wonder how that would work.
It works pretty well. It's usually made for server machines where you have a bunch of people working on the same computer. So you have extra processing power with the 2 in there. But yeah, no, it's a good idea to have multiple processors when you're doing that kind of stuff. But when you're just one person, you're never going to use a processor enough to require.
Especially a Threadripper.
Yeah, one person can use a Threadripper to its extent. Fair enough. You'll never need 2.
The Threadripper pretty much is the F1 car of processors. You just cannot beat it.
So that's the end of our segment of 2 questions and a rebuttal. I think that worked out pretty well. I enjoyed that.
It worked. It could be refined.
Oh yeah, we could definitely refine it a bit. But like I like that idea because then we're able to get that all out. The problem is being hit with it right away and be like, shit, now I gotta think about it. But yeah, no, that was good. I like that. So we'll be back in a moment. I'm not sure if we're gonna cut this out or just cut right to it anyway. But we have a topic, and we'll get back to that. So last week we rolled an 18, which is people. Again.
Again.
So now we got to figure out what we're going to do about this. So what the fuck is wrong with people?
I don't know, man. These we went from plastic straws wrapped in paper to paper straws that are worse for the environment wrapped in plastic. I hate to quote Tom McDonald, but congratulations.
Actually, I'm going to bring up a conversation we didn't have on this, but when we were eating earlier, with I don't understand people who can't concept time. I don't get it. Like, if someone tells you, be there at 5 o'clock, like, it is so simple to think, okay, well, it takes me 10 minutes to get there, so I should leave at 4:50. It's so obvious to me. Yet, it's such an alien idea for some people who they'll see the time, they'll know how much time they have, and say, I got time. And they'll wait until 5 o'clock rolls around, and then they'll walk out the door. And I don't understand it.
Yeah, it's pretty aggravating. I mean, it throws everybody off. Everybody.
Yeah.
No matter the situation, you're shooting somebody in the foot.
And it's just, I don't understand the mental fortitude to just be able to do that. Like, and I know that I'm weird because I constantly think about time because that's just kind of how I was brought up. I constantly watch the clock and be like, time everything, so I would get places before I need to be. So I'm not asking people to be early at all because I know that's weird for me. That I do that. I can't stop it.
That's responsible, but...
It's responsible. It's responsible to show up a few minutes early. It's weird when it's an hour and a half.
What are you trying to say here, dude?
I'm early for everything.
I try to be. Work is hard to be early for because, again, I feel like I, wake up, go to work, come home, go to bed. Like, so it's kind of hard for me to be, like, an hour early for work. I try to be.
See, my thing is for work, because I do it every day, I have that regiment, so I kind of slip a little bit here and there, and I'll get to work maybe a minute late. But but usually that's because I mistimed if there's construction or traffic.
Yeah.
But my thing is, like, if I have a doctor's appointment and that's set weeks in advance, I know exactly when I have to be there, and I will leave an hour and a half early just to make sure I get there on time and I make it to that meeting. When I go watch the movie, before assigned seats were a thing, for all you youngsters out there who have their assigned seats that go up and go down and have cup holders, back in my day, if you want to go see a movie and you want to see the whole thing with your friends all together and not in separate seats, you had to be there early, like stupid early, to make sure you got your ticket, your popcorn, your soda, and you get into the seat as soon as you possibly can, or you were sitting in the back or in the far front.
Okay, do you guys know when you go to the movies, and I know it's been forever because freaking COVID.
Yeah.
I don't know if movie theaters are actually going to recover from this.
Actually, before you finish that, I actually did go see Empire Strikes Back.
True.
In theaters, which is fantastic. It's odd that I had to wait to COVID to do that, but continue.
But, no, like, if you go to the movie theater a little early, you'll see, like, there's a bunch of games and stuff like that, and little short clippets and that play on the screen. That's because of us.
Yeah.
That's because we had to get there an hour early before the movie started so we could find the seats that we wanted.
And then we played the games.
Yeah. And watched the little clippets and sent that one poor person, usually the new guy or the youngest,
to go get popcorn.
To go get popcorn and drinks. We didn't have recliners with cup holders. We had the freaking seats that, you would sit down in them and they would try to fold you inside of them. At 360 pounds, that's fun.
And if you want cup holders, that was the expensive theaters.
Yeah. And then they came out with RPX.
To be fair, okay, so I was really against, like, assigned seats because I thought they're just catering to irresponsible, stupid people. But knowing that came with, like, seats that went up and reclined and had tables, and I'm okay with it now.
Knowing that if you're responsible enough to get your movie tickets early.
Yeah.
And honestly, they say it caters to those who are lazy and don't want to get to the movie theater on time, but at the same time, if you don't get your tickets till, like, that day, you're still sitting wherever the heck there's seat left.
Oh my god. I don't know why it was for this specific movie, but me and my friend decided at one point, just randomly, hey, let's go see a movie. We both like animation. Let's go see Hotel Transylvania 2. Why not? It's around October. Let's go see it. 3 fucking theaters we went to, and they were sold out.
Yeah.
For Transylvania. Okay, so don't get me wrong. I'm not going to say it's a bad movie because I actually love all 3 of those movies. But, and that's weird because, like, there's so much that should be wrong about those movies. But they're so good. But getting off of that, we went to 3 theaters, all sold out. Like, because we decided last minute to go see a movie. Yeah. I never had that happen before.
Yeah, very, very much. Another one that was hard to get tickets for was Ford vs. Ferrari, which I still want to go see that in RPX.
That's the thing, is I thought that wouldn't be, like, something that would sell out like crazy, because it seemed like, okay, it seems good. I saw snippets of it when they advertised it. It seemed like it would be a good movie. I think it's one of those movies that might be a weekend thing, but, like, not many people are going to see it in the middle of the week. No,
it's a good movie. I've heard Midway's good. I want to go see it. And
I don't know. Pearl Harbor kind of ruined a lot of my war movies about that time era.
Yeah,
but that's just because fucking that who directed it? What was his name? Michael Bay did a fucked up job with that.
Well, I mean, it's Michael Bay.
True. But it ruined it because, like, as someone who likes history,
if Michael Bay directed Titanic,
God, it would be the greatest. It would be an actual disaster.
Every plate that fell off of that cabinet would have exploded. There'd have been firecrackers in them for some weird reason.
God, I know this not splitting hairs, but this not getting off track, but, like, kind of going back on only to splinter off again. Why the fuck are there animated versions of the Titanic sinking and all of them deal with talking mice and no one dies?
I don't know. It's kind of like why Noah's Ark, kind of going back to what you and I got sidetracked with off camera. Noah's Ark is kind of like the go-to nursery painting.
Mm-hmm.
Who made that call?
Yeah, no. First off, who made the call that all nursery rhymes had to be fucking horrific?
You're not wrong. But no, Tim Hawkins, he said it best. He's like, yeah, Noah's Ark, everybody on Earth died except for those that were on the boat. Oh, yeah, we're going to paint some lions and some giraffes and some zebras. And over here, we're going to paint a rock with a couple of people screaming on it. Who made that decision?
Who said that was exactly what we need in nurseries? Fucking stupid people. Fuck. Going back on the stupid fucking people and nursery rhymes. Why is almost every nursery rhyme is about something awful? And I know that there's actually a controversy that Ring Around the Rosie isn't exactly about the plague. Oh, it's about something similar, but it's not exactly about the plague. We just kind of put it onto the plague. But to be fair, that entire song is still fucked up.
I found something really interesting the other day, kind of getting on weird, kids stuff. Mm-hmm. Rapunzel, Tangled.
Tangled. Which is Rapunzel. Same thing.
Yeah, it's the story of Rapunzel.
Yeah.
So she was locked away in a tower, hidden from the world, right?
Yeah.
Do you know what the kingdom's name was?
I don't remember.
Do you want to take a guess?
Fuck. All I'm thinking of is Arendelle from Frozen.
It was Corona.
Oh!
That's not even a joke, dude. I was like, what?
To be fair, Corona meant a lot of different things until 2020.
Absolutely, but knowing now, you're there's that small voice in the back of your head that says it's not a coincidence.
It's not a coincidence. Either they're getting smashed or they're just being a fucking plague.
Oh man, seems like everybody knew. Not looking back, there's so many things that are just really either messed up coincidences or somebody knew.
Someone knew, was trying to get the word out and said, what's the easiest way for me to tell everyone that everyone will get immediately? I'm going to name the Disney Kingdom after it.
Has anybody checked The Simpsons lately?
Oh, they've done the looking. I think they found things.
I'm talking way back.
No, they I don't know the episodes. I seen it because everyone, as soon as shit happens, they always check The Simpsons.
Oh, yeah.
To see if they called it, because they, the 9/11 poster thing.
Dude, The Simpsons have called things to the point that it is and I hate going down this road because it's so conspiracy theory. I really do. But, undeniably, he had to be a time traveler. There's no other way. Have you seen... Okay, so Trump coming down the escalator.
I've seen it. It's almost exactly the same. It is
the exact same. There's no way. See, how? So, just how?
I know.
Either somebody... Hold on. Either somebody has a time machine or somebody has a really screwed up sense of humor. I don't know which it is.
So I'm going to take off the tinfoil hat here because I need to... Because we're talking about people, right? Fucking conspiracy nuts.
You're not wrong. But like I said, I really hate going down that road because I hate conspiracy theories. But when you see something like that, it is undeniable that something is weird.
Because I love looking at those because they're obviously coincidences. But the thing is that it's always the closest coincidence. Things that are this is a generic thing that could happen anywhere. Of course, it happens. But The Simpsons, it just so happens to line almost completely.
Oh, dude, it is, perfect. Perfect.
But like I said, conspiracy nuts, besides fucking dealing with them at work, I hate having to look over, every time it comes up on my feed where it's conspiracy of the chemtrails, and I'm nothing is ever specific. Nothing is ever specific. Like, I fucking, like, just, people just, like, and I can't say it because I've done the same thing where I'll take a small piece of information and run with it and be like, yeah, this sounds legit. And then someone's like, did you ever, like, pick it apart even a little bit? I'm like, no, why would I do that? It just sounds so smart. Well, maybe if you think about it for, like, 10 seconds, maybe that might not be the best idea. And like I do that, like I do that with people at work when they come up to me and they start spouting out. My favorite is that 5G gives you cancer. And I'm just like, oh man.
That one was ridiculous.
Oh, God, first off, do you even know what cancer is? Because clearly you don't. And second, do you even know what 5G is? Do you know what that means? Do you know how radios work? Is radio giving you cancer? It's not much different.
Dude, it's so crazy. Like, and there's some of them, like I said, some of them are out there.
Oh, yeah.
But some of them are really good. Another one I saw was that T-Rexes aren't the T-Rexes we like, the Jurassic Park T-Rexes we know.
Mm-hmm.
Because they've... And we're getting into supposed that I'm going down the route of this is what the conspiracy theory is. Not saying this is what I believe. Just to clarify that. But supposedly there has never been a 100% complete T-Rex fossil found.
I think that might actually be true, though. No.
Well, they said they found one somewhere in the U.S. that was like locked in battle, but there's a lot of speculation that that's not true. I have not done enough digging.
Yeah.
Because frankly, it's not like the forefront of my cares.
Yeah, keep going.
But like supposedly, working off of that theory that no full skeleton has ever been found, and the only thing that has consistently been found is the skull. Which there's a lot of pockets and stuff like that they don't know what the skull was for. Mm-hmm. Somebody goes, it's a dragon. And that would make sense for a lot of the bones to be hollow. And that's why, hollow bones don't fossilize well. That's why they're hard to find. I was like, okay, that legitimately makes sense. I'm not saying it's right, but there's the train of thought is there. Like, 2 + 2 = 4. Like, I see where they're coming from.
So let me throw down some history for you. So paleontology didn't start out as a science. It started out as I'm rich and I can make up bullshit and everyone will believe me. Actually, do you know the she sells by the seashore that
Yeah, the thing that you can't say properly.
Yeah, I can't. I have a big tongue and small mouth.
She sells seashells by the seashore.
You know that's about a poor paleontologist named Mary, who basically would find fossils and sell them to rich people so they could pretend that they found them.
I believe it.
Yeah,
sounds like a rich person thing to do.
Yeah, so what they would do is they would put bones together randomly and say it's a new creature, and then later on they would have to re-examine them. That's why we now know that the hollow bones theory, they were birds. Chickens are dinosaurs. That's a real thing, and they still remember.
Yeah.
Chickens are fucking scary.
They really are, dude. Like, if you ever get up close with a big rooster, like a rooster in general is a problem, but a big rooster, I've seen some of them that were like 40, 50 pounds.
They give no fuck.
6 foot wingspan. Oh, yeah. They will, stare you down and chase you out of your own house.
Anyone who uses a term chicken as meaning to be scared has not actually seen a chicken.
Yeah.
My ex used to have chickens. They don't fear shit. They migrate together. They might flock away if you get close because they don't want to be near you. But if they don't like you, they will murder you.
I had a dog, and this dog was trained to take down, like, bears and pig, like wild boar and deer, like full-blown hunting dog. And this rooster got out of my grandmother used to have a bunch of chickens. Mm-hmm. This rooster got out, and we're trying to catch it, and of course it's a rooster, so yeah, we got screwed.
Yeah, absolutely.
But my brother, it gets into the garden. My grandma's coming in from the left. I'm coming up from the house. My brother's coming in on the opposite side, and then the pen's on the right. So our goal is just kind of corral it towards the pen because, if enough people are after it, it'll kind of move that way is our theory.
Mm-hmm.
Well, my dog decides she's going to help. She comes in from the right. That rooster turned around, locked eyes with her, flung those wings out, and bolted at her. And my dog ran.
Yeah. No.
And like I said, I have seen this dog stare down animals 3-4 times its size, and she ran from this chicken, and rightfully so.
Yeah, absolutely.
They are thunderbirds. They don't care.
They are the remnants of dinosaurs. Basically, dinosaurs were avian, and that's why we think that they may have had feathers, but we can never know for sure, because I think it is true we've never found a full. We found many, like fossils where there was enough bones we can kind of assume what they were shaped as. But like I said, if it didn't fit the mold of the old paleontologists, they just revised it however they wanted. That's where we get the Iron Maiden from. Iron Maidens were just when someone said, oh, these sarcophaguses are boring. What if they put spikes in them? Oh, wouldn't that be fun? And that's how we get Iron Maidens. They were never really a thing.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, is that there's a lot of these things in history because paleontologists want to make it interesting because they're not there to show you the light of history. They're there to make money. Yeah. And what makes money? Something grotesque, something crazy. And it wasn't until later on where we're like, no, we actually really need to know. Which is another reason why Lewis and Clark are actually the worst kind of people. Because they actually cleaned up after themselves. Which makes it really hard to track their trail. Luckily they had a map that they made. It's not accurate. But I mean, to be fair, for what they did in the time they were, that was fairly accurate. But
thank God for Sacagawea.
Oh yeah, thank God for half the people who actually left something behind, so we could say, yeah, they were here.
Yeah.
Because they cleaned up after themselves. They cleaned their camps. Yeah. They kept it clean. And I'm like, at first you're like, well, isn't that nice? I'm like, but now we can't find anything.
But okay, let's go back. Chinese culture,
mm-hmm.
way back. There's dragons.
Yeah.
Japanese culture, there's dragons. Pretty much every Asian culture, there's dragons. You go to Egypt and you look in some of the old tombs, there are drawings of dragons. Literally every culture that I can think of at some point has a depiction of a dragon. I'm just saying.
There are two running theories on why. And I'm talking about more rational than the fact that dragons exist.
And the thing too is I would believe some of the other theories if they were similar. Now the Chinese dragons obviously are a little more festive, but the ancient ones weren't as festive.
No, they were still very different. Dragons everywhere were different.
They all had the same general.
Exactly, and that's where these two theories come in. The first theory is they found fossils. And to prove that they were, the best of warriors, they would say that they killed a dragon. And in Eastern culture, it wasn't really killing a dragon. It was more or less of meeting a dragon. So, every culture has it. And because they look similar, because it was Pangea when they were dinosaurs. So now you could find the same kind of dinosaurs everywhere. You can find those bones and use that as I killed the dragon or everything. But my favorite theory, which I think is the more rational one, based on, so when you watch a cartoon, is it real?
Of course not.
Of course. So when you watch these cartoons, where clearly when there's someone doing magic or doing something let's take Avatar. How did that? If there is no frame of reference for that, how real would that be? Why is it on TV? If it wasn't real, who made that up? People of imagination made it up, and removing fossils from it altogether, the entire equation of fossils of dinosaurs. How did dragons come around? Think about the animals that they had to deal with in that culture, and you'll find that all of them are encompassed in dragons. Lizards, snakes, lions, predatory birds. All of these things are what make up dragons. And note that in every culture, they're not called dragons. That became a westernization. We refer to anything like that as a dragon. but they are considered different beings entirely during their times. All of humanity's fears become monsters, like physical monsters to us. And in this case, we had actual physical monsters to be. So in the dense jungles of Asia, there's snakes. So you get the long, wavy dragons of Asian mythology. In Europe, you get more of the serpents, because now you have all the things that exist in the water. The Kraken is actually based specifically on, not as a dragon, but similar thing, is based on what could have been a giant jellyfish or giant squid that died and surfaced. And they took it as that's the Kraken. It's giant. How can that thing exist? And it wasn't until, I think it was like 20 years ago, when we discovered that they do exist. They live in the dark depths of the ocean. They don't come up to ashore often, but they found proof. With dragons, a lot more serpents in old Roman and Greek myths because of creatures that could have lived in the water. That's also where we get the Loch Ness Monster, which could have been a dinosaur. Based on a dinosaur. We get monsters from our greatest fears, and we combine them together with physical things to create them. That's why the Egyptians, all their gods are based on man plus animal. And that's how we get the Egyptian gods.
I mean, that's fair. Like I said, there's some... The whole point is, like, there's some of them that, like, make sense.
Oh, yeah. But like I said, there's many prevailing theories, including that dragons existed.
I would like to believe, because I mean I like dragons, but
that's fair. That's fair.
Not saying I do. I would like to.
And if there were dragons, it would probably less fire breathy, because that's impossible.
Yeah, more of this just a Tyrannosaurus Rex with
like a living dinosaur, but
like,
with the scales and the
yeah. I would say like a Tyrannosaurus Rex with wings. I feel like that would be kind of badass.
But like that's the theories I know of that are like that make the most sense to me. But I really would bet most of I would hedge all my bets on the idea that it's people's imagination and how we craft stories that's how that came around.
Oh, that's like Thor and Odin and all that.
Oh yeah, everything like that. Anything that's based on the idea of there's a question, what can we answer it with? People create things so they have a reason for it. And my favorites are always in the mythology, because it's always... You kind of see it, like, especially in ancient mythologies. Those are, like, where they're like, what is this? Well, the spider god came down and made a bet with it. And I'm like, those are interesting. I like those.
Yeah. You would like Polynesian culture.
Oh, yeah. Well, I've dabbled a little bit in it.
I grew up with a lot of it. Now, I can tell you this, and I cannot remember what deity it's supposed to be, but there's one tiki, I can tell you what it looks like. It's the one that's got, like, the real angry, like, face to it. There's something about that one. Every time I have been around one of those, like, depiction, whether it be picture or, like, the masks or like a statue or just like a little decorative thing of it, like some weird shit happens, like just a lot of bad energy, bad karma,
bad juju.
And like, to give you an example, like there was a picture that my uncle had that his sister-in-law, I can't even remember what all she was, but like they had it on their back porch, and there was just a lot of bad, negative energy, bad shit was constantly going on. And we finally were like, you know what? Like, this started happening after that picture, just out of curiosity, and we burned it. Mm-hmm. And literally, like, the next day, bad juju gone. So, like I said, I'm not saying it's real or anything like that, but it's just weird.
It's coincident. We're having a tinfoil hats.
Coincidental. I don't know if it's coincidental or like if there actually is something to the deity, because a lot of the deities are, I hate using the term, but like demons.
Yeah.
Like it's a very
well. That's also an interpretation of their belief as well.
Yeah, it's a very complicated thing. But a lot of people use it for decoration that are completely ignorant to what it means, and it actually holds like in the culture, it holds a very negative presence. Like you do not want that. You go to any Polynesian household, you will not find that tiki. But it's everywhere here in the States because that's like one of the most popular ones. But it is a very negative deity. Like even just going off of the culture, it's a very negative deity.
Which is always interesting because that's a very Asian kind of thing.
Yes.
Where it's not necessarily specifically demons, but spirits, like angry spirit kind of things. Because you find that in like Polynesia, obviously, Japanese, Chinese cultures before they went to monotheism, any pagan religion of that. They combine that, like the Oni in Japan kind of thing. Like, I like those things. Like, those mythologies are really cool. I like those.
There's another one, and I'm going to preface this with I have never actually been to the Hawaiian Islands. I would love to go because, again, I was raised around that culture by most of my family. But there's also, before there's ever a really bad... because the volcano in Hawaii is constantly erupting. Yeah. But whenever it's bad, and I cannot... Again, I'm very tired. I've had like 4 hours of sleep. I cannot remember the name. But there's people that say you can actually see a lady walking around. Let me see if I can look it up real quick.
All right.
But... Again, it's just interesting to see all the different... We kind of got away from people so stupid.
I mean, it's bound to happen. I just gotta let it go.
we very much deviate. That's what we do.
It's our thing.
Yeah. But let's see.
If you literally unsubscribe because we break the rules, I mean, I'm not gonna blame you, but at the same time, that's not what you were here for.
You were here for the destruction.
You're here for the mindless talking because whatever you're supposed to be doing right now, you're trying not to do it. That's what I'm on YouTube for. I don't know about you guys.
Nate.
Fucking calling. I'm calling out Nate's podcast because not only am I on it, but because I'm gonna call it out and then get offended when I get on Nate's podcast. How dare Running Rogue make fun of us? I'm gonna start fucking beef with the other podcast.
So this is. And you know how lava does. Lava has a tendency to look like a painting. Yeah. This is actually a still shot, and this has been verified that this is real. Her name is Pele.
Oh, okay.
And like people say before there's a bad explosion, you can see her like walking the island. Like again. I don't know how real this stuff is.
But it's definitely interesting. I like that as a folklore kind of thing.
And there's several depictions.
I will check. Editor Ricky, you know what to do. Yeah. This was recorded in December. It is February now. I don't have the picture we looked at. I'm so sorry, past Ricky. I just don't. But that also, to be fair, that also comes from. I'm sorry. I'm gonna be the wet blanket on mythology and religion here because I just like doing it. But a lot of times when you see the face of things in there, that's actually a survival instinct. Where we used to have to see tigers in the woods, so we have to instinctively look for faces. Yep. So we see it in everything, and it's just a byproduct of that. So I always find that interesting that happens so often.
Yeah. And I mean, it's just, like I said, it's very interesting. Mm-hmm. And what a lot of people don't realize about Polynesian culture, too, is even up after the British came to the Polynesian islands and introduced, Catholic?
Christianity.
No, it wasn't Christianity, it was Catholicism?
Catholicism?
Yes, Catholicism. That's the English word I'm looking for.
To be fair, it's both the same to me, but
okay,
continue.
So cutting back in. So even after the British came to the Polynesian Islands, specifically Hawaii, and introduced Catholicism, they would walk out of the Catholic Church and then go worship the pagan gods.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a very active. I'm not going to say active today because I don't know for sure if it's still. Mm-hmm. It's the folklore is still definitely there.
Yeah.
But even up until recently, it was very active.
To be fair, there's one thing that pagans have: you can introduce a new god, and they're just going to add it to the rest. That's how it works.
But like I say, it's just interesting to see everything. Again, I'm not saying that I believe it or that it's real or anything like that. It's just.
It's interesting.
It's interesting. And like I said, seeing firsthand that, bad juju came in when it came in, and then bad juju left when it left. I'm just saying.
We burned it at the right time.
And I'm talking, like, it wasn't a couple of days. We're talking, this was a span of, it was there for like 8 months. And it was just constant, like, negative after negative after negative. Then when we got rid of that picture, gone. Mm-hmm. It was all gone. So it's just weird. Like I say, probably is coincidence, but
it makes for a good story at the end of the day. So
and you just never know.
Exactly.
We will never know.
We will never know. But we're going to make it to the end of this podcast. Thank you for listening. But before we end, of course, it's time to roll. So here's the thing: I have 6 dice on the table of varying sizes and colors. One of us gets to choose the die. The other gets to roll. So, do you want to choose or do you want to roll?
Let's do this.
So I'm going to roll it.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Oh, okay. That's how you're going to do it.
And 1. So you're using that one.
All right. So I'm using what I like to call, and I'll probably put a picture. I'll take a picture of it and put it in. It is I like to call it the arcade floor dice.
Yes.
It looks like a floor of an arcade.
That's specifically why you bought that, isn't it?
You're not wrong. You're absolutely not wrong. That's literally what I told Mike when I picked it up. I'm like, this reminds me of an arcade floor. Sold. All right, here we go. It is 4. And 4 is... Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Math and numbers.
Well, we know our next subject.
So yeah, we as before, the rules are very loose. As long as it starts with something about math or numbers, I can go to the Fermi paradox for real this time. Doing that because that's math and numbers. Yeah, we could. That's next time. So I'm not gonna think about it anymore now. We'll figure that out when that time comes.
Hey Nate, my podcast is better.
Are you going to take that down, Nate and Ricky? You going to take that?
Yeah, Rich.
Yeah.
Going to split you up into 2 personalities, Rich and Ricky.
Rich and Ricky. Ricky on Running Rogue, and then Rich on Nate's spot on Internet Soapbox, which is also on YouTube. Link
no, they get Ricky. I get Rich. Ricky's the goofy one.
Am I not goofy? Am I not goofy enough here on my own fucking podcast?
Are you not entertained?
Are you not? To be fair, if after I asked everyone to comment, if you just say no, I'm going to be very angry.
Editor Ricky, if you can add that meme in right there.
I will. Future Ricky knows. So, I've been Ricky Rogue.
Hold on. So, hold on. We got to break this down here.
Okay.
So, we have Rich.
Okay.
We have Ricky. We have Future Rich. We have...
It's Future Ricky, because I always write it as Future Ricky.
Future Ricky. He's a little weird.
It's Editor Ricky.
Editor Ricky.
There's also Past Ricky.
Yep.
Usually the ones who writes the notes.
How many personalities do you have?
They're all the same person. They're just... They're all the same personality in different people.
Persona.
They're all the same persona, just in different people. There's also Present Ricky, but he doesn't talk much. He doesn't really exist.
No, that's Rich and Ricky.
Because that's I think it was like someone said that, hey, future Ricky didn't do the thing he was supposed to do. They're like, no, I'm present Ricky, so it doesn't matter. Future Ricky will still handle it.
God, it's like Rick and Morty, literally.
Literally Rick and Morty. No, so Rich...
You're gonna show up at the court?
Show up at the court, no. So Rich... So I guess Rich is on this one?
Yeah, I want Rich.
That's
Nate,
weird.
You get Ricky.
There's no difference between the two of them!
There is a difference.
Then the Internet Soapbox has Ricky. Even though on here I go by Ricky Rogue, but okay. I think I go by Ricky Rogue in the other one too, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, we need Mr. Rogue.
Mr. Rogue.
Mr. Rogue will be like your dressed up formal attire.
Mr. Rogue, how many times are you gonna fucking knock over the camera before you start securing it? Let's find out. 1, 2, oh fuck!
All right, so we got 6 so far.
God damn it! Rip headphone users.
Just constantly. I don't think I have any personas, do I?
You're just Chris.
I'm just Chris.
You're just Chris. Unless we count D&D personas, which is completely different.
Yeah, please don't.
Yeah, that list will never end. But like, yeah, no. So 6. I can't. Also, Mr. Rogue. I don't know where he fits in all this, but yeah. All right, I'm gonna end this before this is podcast the movie.
Too late.
It is too late. So, we ended on this. I've been Ricky Rogue.
Which Pokeball was it?
That is a good question. That you'll never know. I swear every Ricky's put a graphic up and showed it, and I'm very, very disappointed in him. I don't know why I give myself more work, but I guess here we go. It was in this Pokeball right here. Happy past, Ricky? and this was Chris. We'll see you guys later. I'm gonna end it now before the madness kicks in. Bye bye.
We need more monster.